Gentlemen, hustlers, you see me in the stereotypical pimping outfit, right? But why? Because this is going to be the definitive beginner's video for pimping. I'm going to explain to you the relationship between pimps and hoes. I'm going to tell you how to stop yourself from being pimped. I'm going to explain about the human value, the thing that a lot of people seem to have a hard time with quantifying or even accepting, that yes, we all have individual price tags. Okay? That being said, let's get to work, right? So, enough with the silliness. Pimping. Well, let me tell you something. Now, I was offered my first pimp rig. You know what a pimp rig is? A pimp rig is a band of bitches, a stable, right? And the means in which to sell them. Okay? Friend of my father's had about 20 very beautiful women. And he said, Sean, young man, whom I choose, I see it in you. And I want to give you these girls. Now, these girls are not girls work in the corner. These girls are not, even $300 an hour girls. These are high price, high ticket, high end Las Vegas escorts. Okay? That's what I got a catalog, fucking book these bitches. Now, he's going to teach me the art of pimping in his way with this. And basically, fundamentally, the majority of the girls would have sex with a guy for anywhere from $500 to $1,000. Okay? Now, out of each $500 increment, I would receive $200. Okay? So approximately 40%. Okay? And these bitches are waiting 24/7. Tell them where to go, what to do, whatever. Now, while this seemed very alluring, his methodology of getting customers for these high-ticket prostitutes was to talk to limo drivers and taxi drivers, maybe spread a little money around. You know what I mean? A little Las Vegas for love. He already had relationships with several. I just had to kind of keep on doing with them what he had been doing. And I thought about this. And I thought, fuck. That's great. But I'll pass. Why did I pass? I was how old was I? Either 21 or 22. Okay? This was a great opportunity. And the reason I passed is because I didn't believe in the product. What the fuck? What am I, some fucking fugazi? Right? I don't believe in the product. The product is beautiful women. Why didn't I believe in the product? This is a moment, or as they say in Spanish, the bastón, or more commonly referred to as a king, or pimp king, some would say. You know, I had a pimp king before this one, which was gifted to me. I had also been gifted the other one by my bottom bitch. It was a beautiful king, beautiful king, and I cherished it. But you know, I made some poor decisions in life. Made some poor decisions, lost everything, and so now as I rebuild, I am doing things differently, you know, and you know, part of the reason I don't want this is great. We're getting off topic. Pimping, okay, pimping. Where was I? Now, first you have to understand the pimp-ho relationship. Why didn't I believe in the product? Because these girls were more likely than not spoiled rotten. I know hot bitches. And fun fact, hot bitches know that they're hot bitches. And they act like hot bitches. Okay? Basically, and first of all, I'll tell you guys straight out, and this is sad for every man that loves big titties like myself. Girls with anything larger than a C cup are much more difficult to get with in general. I mean, fat girls are different, but I mean, a good looking girl that's got a D cup, just the fact that she has a D cup, the amount of extra suitors that she has received in her life has given her an inflated sense of value. Okay? Now, Geraldo Rivera once said on a Howard Stern broadcast, and I'll never forget this. Howard Stern was talking about how he kept on marrying his assistants. And Geraldo would marry these women and then divorce them maybe a few years later and give up a good majority of his wealth. And Howard Stern said to him, he said, how can you stomach giving so much money to all of these women? And he said, well, you know, when I got with them, they were young, and you can't put a price tag on a woman's youth. We need to think about that for a moment. Beauty, a woman's youth, a woman's most alluring years. She's actually worth the most in that moment as a piece of flesh, so to speak. Now, we call this aging stripper syndrome. where a girl is 19, 20, 21 years old. She is getting all the money in the club, especially if she's got a big rack, but, or on the streets, so to speak. But what she realizes, and eventually, every girl realizes this eventually, is that guys listen a little bit less and they pursue a little bit less hard year after year after year after year after year after year, as where with men it's actually the opposite. See, when I was getting married to this unfortunate woman, when I was an idiot 20-year-old, my father said to me, he said, Sean, you haven't even gotten to the point in your life when you're going to get good women. Why are you getting married now? Why are you basically settling for this? And I did not heed his advice, but he was entirely correct. And of course, the women that I had in my later years, just for my pleasures, were incredibly different calibers of women at 38 or 34 or 30 than they were at 21. So men, there is hope. Your value increases as you get older, as where women it's the opposite. They are a depreciating asset. Okay? This market exists amongst all of us in our psychology and the core that makes us human beings. And understanding this market is very fundamental to pimping, because you have to be able to look at one bitch. I'll give you an example. Is that eventually the way that I ran my shit, when I did my own business, was I would look at a bitch and I knew how much she would earn. I knew it. This was a number. This was a monetary value that if she just simply answered her phone and haphazardly and conservatively actually went out on the dates, that she would probably receive XYZ amount per week. Okay? So, unlike other pimps, I didn't micromanage my bitches at all, actually. I would just tell them what they had to give me. Yeah. So you are some beautiful blonde-haired girl, for example. You're a little bit pricier. You're beautiful, you're white, you've got a nice body. You're gonna get less appointments, but those appointments are gonna be higher value appointments. So we're gonna price you, say, $300 an hour, and I propose you'll probably get, at this time in the marketplace, something like this gets 5 appointments a week. So that's $1,500 a week that you're going to be generating. What's in it for me? That's the age-old question. Without me, you go sell on the streets, you do whatever. It's kind of an uncertainty. But with me, baby, that's probably what you're gonna get. $1,500 a week, realistically, conservatively. And if you don't, it's kind of my fault. So I'm gonna work and I'm gonna fix the situation. That being said, that's what your value is. So $6,000 a month. How much of that do I want? Now, this is where we can get really exploitative, you know? But I was not particularly exploitative. I think that in that situation that I was talking to you about, with that girl in particular, off the top of my head, she gave me $400 a week. So, 1,500, like, I don't know, not even 25%. So, not too shabby, work on your own time. Now this is a business model. All of it. The whole thing, the one I told you before, is a business model. Alright? But, you know, when I set up my girls, I realized that, number one, I didn't believe in the product that this person was selling or trying to get me to take over before, because the girls were going to be bitches, and they were going to think their shit didn't stink, and they were going to be unruly. That was my main concern. Secondarily, that this was going to be a pain in the ass, schmoozing these limo drivers and these taxi drivers and whatever the fuck else. This was going to be a lot of work, and I am in my nature a lazy man. Okay? Thirdly, the price point was off. No pussy's worth $500 an hour. Get the fuck out of here. Come on. You might sell this to a random idiot from time to time, sweetheart. But I tell you, when a girl comes to me, she wants $500 an hour, I'm gonna turn her down. I'm gonna tell her, listen, you can't work with me. I don't believe in that. I don't think your work that I can't sell you is something that I don't think is a movable price point. There's a business. She makes money. Stick to the business. Think about the real motherfuckers that lived it. She makes money. Or she doesn't. And if she's trying to charge $500 an hour because she thinks she's the next best thing, or maybe even $500 is just an entry fee in some ridiculous situations. Sure. She's Las Vegas, there's idiots, they're horny, she's hot. Eventually she'll strike something, but not enough to make a business from. There's other ways for her to make money like that. See, the art of the courtesan is vital for a prostitute, and undertaught by their managers. The girlfriend experience, you know. Some of the greatest madams and greatest pimps have always stressed to their women, first and foremost, that when they see their client, to greet him like a long-lost lover. Oh, the way of doing that is an art form that women don't know inherently, but they can be taught. And once taught, it's powerful for them, it's empowering for them. But once again, what's in it for me? So, this is the beginnings of pimping. These were the basic teachings of pimping. Now, in future videos, I'm going to give more lessons on pimping. I think that is important because I don't want you to be pimped. And if you desire to pimp others using this knowledge, well, that's not really my fault. And secondarily, it's important for the world to know these things. Because we've become disjointed and discombobulated and started to think that we're all these unique and individual snowflakes when, I'm sorry, sweetheart, you're just not. You're just not. And it's my duty to my fellow American men who have been brutalized by women. Their entire lives, many of them. Brutalized. Women have taken advantage of men. This entire OnlyFans movement, which quite frankly, gentlemen, I will tell you how to set up your own OnlyFans agency and fuck all the girls. Okay? I will teach you all of these things. But this is a lengthy process. So you're going to have to like and subscribe. You're going to have to really study. You're going to have to take some time for self-reflection. And you might say, whoa, this shit is crazy. Or this guy's a lunatic. Or whatever the case may be. And I tell you, there's the classical definition of insanity, which is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. But I like to think of a little bit of a twist on that. And my twist on that is, in this insane world, ever changing, ever evolving, I mean shit. They told my grandmother when she was pregnant with my mother to start smoking, which she did for the rest of her life thereafter, to help her with stress. So to show you how things grow and evolve, and how really you shouldn't listen to a word out of your that you hear out of anyone's mouth, whether they're an expert in anything, in any field. Never listen to them, because in 10 years, what they know will be antiquated and some new methodology of doing the exact same thing will occur. So you can use what they're saying as a guideline, but when they tell you things that just simply, plain don't make logical sense, and you say, well, they're an expert. Most people do. They really genuinely do. And when you allow them to do that, you're only hurting yourself. Anyway, where was I? Pimping. We're going to keep this on point. There's so much to teach you, but you have to understand the basic and fundamental concept that if someone else is making money off of your labor, whether you are flipping burgers at Burger King, or whether you are filing papers in an office, or whether you are a delivery driver, or whatever you might be doing, you are actually being pimped. Pimping is making money off of someone's labor when they could be making more money off of their own labor if they had your understanding of how to utilize their own labor. It's basically an arbitrage of labor and services. Now, what you'll realize in life is that people are often good at one thing or another. Some people are lucky enough to be good at several things, And some people, like myself, are just really good at a whole bunch of shit, pretty well rounded, right? And I'll explain to you how to become just like me and be very well rounded, very simply. Never try to perfect anything, it's a waste of time. Never, 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 never. Never try to perfect anything. If you get to like that 80% mark, it's so easy. My Spanish is like a 7, but I will never learn more Spanish. I just don't care. Because it's enough for me to have a conversation with someone in Spanish if I need to. Anyway. So you do that, you have a lot more time. You're not spending, 10 years or 1,000 hours, 10,000 hours becoming a master of one particular thing. You see? Now I did that in World of Warcraft. High Warlord. And it was the best High Warlord. Couldn't get higher than High Warlord in player versus player in World of Warcraft. I'll tell you, it's funny, and we're gonna side off track here for a minute. You get this stereotypical thought of a World of Warcraft player, and it's like this guy in his grandmother's basement. It's like 400 pounds, like that South Park kind of thing. And here I was playing World of Warcraft, getting High Warlord 16 hours a day, while my girlfriends brought me coffee, and my bottom girl would go out, my assistant would go out and collect all the money from my girls and deliver it to me, But I was just sitting there playing World of Warcraft. Imagine if I had focused. But that's besides the point. Alright? Pimping, the relationship between a pimp and a hoe. You are basically the hoe of your manager, for example. And then your manager is like a hoe with more favor. Like, to be favorable, a more favorable hoe to the overlord pimp, right? And this just goes on and on and on and on and on until there's eventually the pimp himself. And the pimp orchestrates everything, but on a grand scheme, because he can't be bothered to micromanage things. So what the pimp does is he says, I bet my bitches make more money if there's XYZ. Little bitches, tell all the bitches to do XYZ. That is not, of course, what I would do. But, however, something similar in that nature. And then, of course, profits increase and everybody's happy. And yet again, they look to the pimp as this wise, all-knowing entity. You want to know the secret to always being right? It's very simple. Very simple. Only say shit that you know is true. And a lot of pimps make this mistake. They will overestimate the value of a hoe. Or, and especially bad, is when you promise the hoe too much shit in order to get her to do her deeds. Okay? Bitch gotta know her place. She's a walking cum dumpster. I don't even know if I can say that. She's a semen repository for horny men that have no other choice other than to use her. Okay? If they were not... No, that's not true, because I will admit, there is an element of men that see prostitutes that are very able of getting women. That is a stereotype amongst clientele. Some men simply don't want to be bothered courting women. All they want is the occasional release. Some men look at it like a hobby, like collecting baseball cards. They want to like collect every prostitute in a certain area, you know. There's a lot of reasons why the clients come, but that's not really important. You know, that's a story for another day. Where was I? Yes, the bitch has to know her place. And her place is to provide satisfaction for the clientele and be a paid entertainer. Okay? That's basically what's going on. She's being a paid entertainer. She is pretending to be a loving girlfriend for an hour. That's what she's doing. She's giving you, she's not having sex with you for money per se. She is giving you the experience of having a girlfriend. Now, or wife, in some circumstances. There's a lot of women that actually run with that, actually. You know, I think one particular girl was Wifey's World, I believe was her name. A lot of history with these things. It's actually a very interesting history, the way things have evolved over the years, like the entire market. But, where was I? Yes, she must understand that no matter what, okay, I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to give you a perfect example. Okay? Is that one day a girl comes to me, and the first thing I would always ask a new girl is I would say, have you ever escorted before? And most of them, the majority of them, especially because my marketing was targeted at finding girls of this nature, would say no. Now, that's good, actually. You don't want to deal with professional prostitutes. They're a lot of work. And they have a high self-worth, higher than it actually is. A 3 thinking she's a 10, for example. And this one girl said yes. I have done something similar to that. So I said, oh, tell me about it. And she said, well, this one time I was introduced to a gentleman that was very rich, and he said he wanted to take me out to dinner and do that with me first, and we went shopping, and we got a dress, and I wore it out to dinner, and we had a great time. Then we went back to his hotel, and it was really great. And I looked at her, and I said, you do realize that will never happen to you again for the rest of your life, right? Is the likelihood of some now 32-year-old woman reproducing maybe something that happened when she was a 21-year-old hottie. Is incalculably low, the possibility of it. And certainly not something that I would ever tell her was in her future. No, in fact, she was going to see clients on an hourly basis and be in her room most of the time, waiting for them to call, and when they did call, she would follow a certain process and receive money. You know? And I believe in this case it was around that $300 mark, which was the going rate for a decent looking white girl in Las Vegas at the time. Now, why do you have this power over the women? Because you control their means of production. How do you control their means of production? Well, the easiest way to do that is to gatekeep knowledge, basically. See, now, a stupid pimp would let a girl know everywhere he advertises her, everywhere that he promotes her, shit, even clients' numbers and things like that, you know. But that's really bad for so many reasons that I could probably talk for a half an hour about basic psychology, about why you shouldn't do that in about 1,000 different situations. But in this specific circumstance, why doesn't she just do that for herself at this point? Unless there's some external thing that's stopping her from doing so. And on top of that, no one wants to go up there, you know. So if she believes she can do this for herself, she will run at the first minute. So what you have to do is, as the pimp, you have to provide overwhelming value. You have to know things she doesn't know and will never know. You have to price her. There's so many things that get her into this industry that she does not know, that you will learn from my videos, correct? And there are things that you could do for yourself using the skills that you have that will make you more money than working at McDonald's, no matter who you are. So why would anyone work at McDonald's? Even worse than McDonald's. Because really, here's a sad fact. Your average office worker really doesn't make more than someone that works at McDonald's. Yet we look down at the person who works at McDonald's and we elevate the person that works in the office. Isn't that interesting? It's all pips and hoes. Your boss is not running a charity. That's a fun little fact. You're not his responsibility. You're not his child. You're not even his friend, even if he pretends that you are. You make money. Stick to the business. Think about the real motherfuckers that live this. You make money. If you don't make money, you're going to be out the door. I've worked places where I have not made them money. A lot of the time because of their own business models. And to try to save my own job, I would either better their business model by literally telling them how to run their business better. Or I would know, if they would not heed me, that I really shouldn't chase this falling knife. Because you will never work for someone that does not gain from you working for them. That's not the way work works. That being said, you're a glorified prostitute for your employer. You are doing a service that is producing him money. I'll tell you why I got into pimping, is I actually tried this and was successful and had a thriving mobile mechanic service where I have mechanics that would go out. I'm not a mechanic, I've never turned a wrench in my life, but I had mechanics that were making $60 an hour for me, going out to people's houses, doing simple basic things that could be done in a parking lot, or not in a parking lot, in their driveway, and making half of that. They would go out to the people's homes, perform a service, and then come back with half of the money for daddy. In many ways, I exploited the mechanics more than the prostitutes. I took half their money. And what did I do for that half? Got them the appointments, did the marketing, which consisted of me placing an ad in a local newspaper, only at the time. That's how easy life used to be. Not easy now because you have other tools. However, there's a lot to go over. And I think I've wet your whistle enough for today. We're going to talk about a lot of history, a lot of psychology, because that's a lot of what pimping is. I think at the end of this video, most importantly, you have to ask yourself, do you want to be a pimp? I'll tell you, pimping ain't easy. Pimping ain't easy. Do you want to open your eye and see the master dynamic that literally runs the world? If you do like and subscribe, hopefully if you are subscribed, you'll like, which is already a few of you. I appreciate you all, and I wanna spread this wisdom because I want to elevate my fellow man, and I want a better world for the women as well, because a stronger man makes a stronger woman, a more stable woman, right? It's not about equality. Do I think that we all should have the same fundamental, aspects of equality where it comes to human rights and things like that? Of course. In many ways, I believe that females have more human rights than men. To be a male is the ultimate meritocracy. As to be a female, you can oftentimes get off with mediocrity. So, that being said, men need some help. And it's only going to be by breaking your relationship with your pimp and starting your own pimping. That is the weight here in life. And don't worry, I'm here for you. And I hope that you have enjoyed this. I'm trying to think of something elaborate to say, but in the end, what you will not learn from me, life will teach you.